Ultimate Warrior returns. There's backstage politics. One of the few Undertaker matches that I thought great storyline building up, didn't really pay off in the end. Of course, I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
And we are marks on Mania, and we are marking out for some of the Manias we love, and we're not so much marking out for the ones that we didn't hate. We're kind of going back and rebooking them in a different way. Obviously, this was my first WrestleMania as a kid growing up. This was the very first time I was introduced to the WWF universe. And of course, I had the old VHS tape that was taped off pay-per-view, go back and rewatch it. There are things that I certainly appreciate more than others. The one thing that I really don't appreciate about this was the main event, where it was Hulk Hogan and was it Sid Vicious or Sid Justice? It was Sid Justice, the man with the identity crisis. He's not a main event quality wrestler. I've never seen it. I've loved him as a character, but it doesn't pay off in the end, or at least not on a WrestleMania stage. Yeah. So, Jason, obviously, I'm going to let him take over the stats and how he would have booked this differently.
Well, first, let me give you some details of the event. WrestleMania VIII, April 5th, 1992, at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, 62,167.
That's a pretty strong number.
Yeah.
So, from beginning to end, it was my first WrestleMania that I had ever seen. So, it was, again, larger than life. It was extraordinary seeing that many people in attendance for it. However, in terms of booking it, what would you have done differently?
I think the obvious one is the main event, and what most people thought this event was going to turn out to be was going to be Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair for the WWF and possibly the WCW World Heavyweight Championship, because Flair had appeared on TV after leaving WCW on bad grounds. He took the belt with him. So
you know what? That would have been huge. But that's the thing that bums me out about doing this is the what-if factors. Yep. Now, what if there wasn't some backstage stuff going on with Warrior and McMahon or whatever was happening? It definitely won't be included on this version of the Warrior DVD. But yeah, I agree. I kind of felt like at this point, Flair and Hogan, that should have been a given. Yeah. I mean, that's not to take away from the Flair Macho Man match, but regardless, it's still, why did they book it that way? Again, I love Jake the Snake. I love The Undertaker. They had great chemistry in terms of promos, in terms of build-up. I just didn't see it at this match. Yeah. And of course, it's one of the worst tombstones in the history of tombstones, which I believe I've pointed out on our play-by-play in the past. But
it's also worth mentioning the classic Bret Hart Roddy Piper match for the Intercontinental title. That's one of my personal favorite WrestleMania matches. So,
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Great back and forth, technical. The story where Piper's kind of related to Bret in some small sliver, I believe. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but.
Well, that's the thing that I liked was in terms of a title belt match. Again, in later years it would be Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, the ladder match. This was Roddy Piper's a great character. I mean, he's a great in-ring athlete, but Bret Hart's the excellence of execution. They got the excellence of education. He's a scholar, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm Marvel Mouth. No, but I mean, those are two great personalities to put in the ring. And the thing with Bret was, if you're in the ring with young Bret, when he was at the prime of his career, he could basically work with just about anyone, and he can make them look really good in the ring. Not to say that Piper needed that, but it can take a good wrestler and make him that much better. Mm-hmm. And again, that was when the Intercontinental Championship, it was not so much equal to, but it was still a special belt. It wasn't, you're not the WWF champion, but you're probably the next guy in line if you're holding that belt.
You're the workhorse of the company. You're the guy that's expected to deliver those great matches.
Absolutely, and we know in future Manias, Bret was definitely that guy. At MO Commentary on Twitter, 978-276-9418 is the voicemail line. Were you in attendance? What are your thoughts on it? How would you have booked this differently? And can you really argue that the tombstone delivered to Jake the Snake outside the ring on the mat was not the worst thing you've ever seen? For Marks on Mania, I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
And we will see you for WrestleMania 9.